Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a one-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, and there's so much to share. With classics like Caramel Brulee Latte, Peppermint Mocha, and Chestnut Praline Latte, we're celebrating everyone's flavor of festivity. Order yours in the app.
So attention cricket clubs and cricketing family, are you ready to step up to the crease and make a long-lasting impact on your club's legacy? Listen up, we've got something special for you. Introducing Fund It Now, the revolutionary fundraising platform that's changing the game for cricket clubs everywhere. With Fund It Now, clubs of all sizes can create a lasting legacy by selling personalised plaques to their passionate members, supporters and cricket club family.
That's right, Livo. Fund It Now has already left its mark on some of cricket's most iconic venues like Lords, the home of cricket, Somerset County Cricket Club, and with projects such as the Father Time Wall and Somerset Legends Wall.
There's the best part, Hugh. There are absolutely no upfront costs. Fundraising has never been more simple or accessible.
Imagine walking around your club's ground or up to the pavilion and seeing a bespoke wall of dedication, celebrating the history of your club and supporting its future with every plaque. It's like your club's very own shrine to the sport we all love.
And getting involved couldn't be easier. Simply visit Fund It Now's website at funditnow.co.uk to get started today, or drop them an email at info@funditnow.co.uk to learn more. It's time to rally your supporters and start raising money like never before. And don't forget to tell them you heard it from us at the Premier League Cricket Show.
So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of clubs and grounds like Somerset County Cricket Club and Lords and make your mark on cricket history.
Visit Fund It Now today and start building your fundraising platform. That's funditnow.co.uk. Fund It Now, where passion meets purpose at your cricket club, and begin creating your own legacy. So hi everybody, and welcome to a very special Premier League Cricket Show. And as we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary anytime now, we've got a very special guest today. And before anyone thinks it's Matt Taff again, it's not, Hugh.
No. Thank God.
We've upped our game a little bit, Hugh. A proper cricket guest, I think, who deserves a proper intro. What do you reckon?
Absolutely, yeah. The legend of the game.
That's what I think as well. So today's guest, between 1962 and 2009, played across what we call the entire pyramid, as it was back then. From top-end club cricket, and I mean proper top-end cricket, to minor counties, and we're really pleased he played minor counties. And then he went on to play first-class and List A cricket, where he scored more than 27,000 runs. Not all on play cricket, but obviously. He also took 278 wickets, for those who don't know, and he achieved 9 test caps. So is he our first England player? I think he is, Hugh, isn't he?
Possibly. Yeah, probably is. Very few Aussies on, but no.
But the most important thing about our guest is he scored 2,781 Lancashire League runs. Now, that for us puts him at the top of the pile, including the runs that won the title for his beloved Accrington in 2009 at Lower House. So our special guest today is someone whose voice is probably as easily recognised as the SS bats he used to use. Welcome to the show, David Bumble Lloyd. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, and thanks for that intro. And it sort of brings it all back. And, you know, the special moment was 2009 at Lower House when, you know, we had to win. And you know how results are coming through, that challenges were going down, so we have to win. And, you know, the team, it was a good team. We kept our nerve. And I kept wanting to go in. They had a spinner on. I said, I'll clatter this bloke if I get you. And I'm sending such a body. I'm sending him in. I'm sending Carol in. I said, get me in. And I think I must have gone in about number 8.
That's about right.
And I was sulking a bit. I wanted to get in about 4.
Oh, well, your lad had played at the top of the order that day, hadn't he?
Yeah, he probably did. And of course, at that time, you get the barrackers in the crowd. How many pros have they got?
Absolutely.
How many pros? They've got more than one pro.
Yeah, it was a while since you'd proed then, so that's a little bit unfair, wasn't it?
I think I was 62 at the time.
It's funny, we were talking to friends of ours at Lower House recently, and Adam Hope, who does a lot of the work on the website,
Yeah.
Hope, he sent me an image and the video of you scoring the winning runs. And it brought back Lancashire League cricket to me as to what I remember it when I was growing up in Liverpool and then growing around Chorley and places like that. It's just a different world, wasn't it?
Well, it used to be 14 clubs. And just as a bit of background about Lancashire League cricket, because it was revered, the vintage time, I would think, would be in the 50s and 60s. That was fantastic Lancashire League cricket. And there were only 14 teams. There were 14 teams, and you had to live within 5 miles of the team that you played at, as the crow flies. And so I lived in Accrington, and I was eligible for 10 of the 14 teams. I couldn't. So, we're talking about tight-knit community. The communities were so tight-knit.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute escapade to go and play at Baker or Todmorden. They seemed miles away.
Yeah, definitely. And now you look at the way they travel around Premier Leagues, never mind first-class leagues and everything else. Yeah, they don't think twice about driving an hour and a half to some games, these boys.
No, and interestingly, going back to when Premier Leagues were first formed, and I was a big champion of Premier Leagues because I think you get a better quality. Rather than quantity, you get quality. And one thing that was thrown out at the time, that they said, it's too far to travel. And you just look at Australia. I know it's a huge country, but they'll travel, I don't know how long, and overnight to get a game as amateur players. And so I didn't see it as a problem for the players. It might have been for people not wanting change, who had their own little empire. But the players themselves, I thought, surely the players want to test themselves and play against the peers, wherever they come from.
I bet having all those teams so close to each other produced some serious rivalries when you were playing there, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, it's something about cricket these days, the demise of the barracker. You don't hear a barracker now. Every Lancashire League ground had a barracker, and they gave you heaps. You got plenty at every ground that you turned up to. And so there's a great line about, you remember Mark Storman? Mark Storman played for England a little bit, the Durham lad. And he's a tough guy. He's a tough cookie. And when he played for England against Australia, he was interviewed. And they said, how are you going to handle the sort of sledging from the Australians? And he looked dismayed at this guy asking the question. He said, have you never played in the Northumberland League, the Durham Leagues? Crikey. And that's what you get in league cricket. It's parochial, and so they support their own team.
Yeah, we were talking to Scott Oliver last week, who's written the Sticky Dogs and Stardust book about the pros coming over, and in his story of Shane Warne playing at Accrington. I think it was his first or second game, and he's walking off the field, go home, pro.
That's same thing happened to Bob Simpson. Bob Simpson was Shane's coach for a little while, Australia captain, Australia coach. I think his first 2 games for Accrington were single-figure scores, and he got exactly the same. Who's your pro? Put your pro. Who is your pro? And he broke the league record, Bob. He got these 2 low scores, and then I think it was 1,500 runs, and broke the league record. Fabulous.
Is that from your own fans? You're getting that? I mean, that's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when you mentioned 1962, and I shudder that, I'm only a kid. I'm opening the batting at a real young age. I might be 14 or 15 against top pros. Yeah. And I was getting it from my own spectators, and I was upset. He'd upset me.
Yeah.
And but it held me in good stead. You know, it just got me ready for, you know, what was to come later down the line.
It's funny, you'll be proud to hear this, I think, David. We were talking to Caleb Jewell a couple of weeks ago. Caleb is an Australian player, plays in for Tasmania, he plays in the BBL, and he came over 2 years ago and started his Premier League career at Doncaster Town.
Yes.
Next season, he's playing right through the season for Derbyshire, which is our local club here for me and Hugh. But when we asked him about his first thought processes at Doncaster Town, he was like, I have never heard more of that going down, more in his ear than he's ever heard at any grade game, any BBL game. And we were like, great, it's still going on. They're still getting plenty of clap.
You get it. I mean, I don't mind getting it from the crowd, but you know what? I go watch Sheriff Hutton Sheriff Hutton Bridge a bit. And of course, it's like all league clubs, whichever league you're playing or club cricket, you walk round the ground. I've never heard noise like it. You know, I played, you know, elite cricket.
Yeah.
And that didn't go on. It just didn't. And you get you know, there's a little bit of chat, nothing. It's probably because you know, when you get into test matches and 90,000 at the MCG or at Old Trafford or at Headingley or wherever, you actually don't hear it.
Exactly.
You don't hear that individual voice, but
yeah.
You know, when you're just walking around the ground with your dog, I'm hearing, you know, incessant claptrap. utter bollocks. Shut up.
And there's no sport in the world that is better for incessant claptrap than cricket.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm thinking, well, just do your job. Just do what you're supposed to do. I mean, you mentioned Derbyshire. It's one of Brian Clough's greatest lines. Do your job.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So Yorkshire North League's become your local Premier League now, hasn't it? With Sheriff Hutton, Easingwold, our friends at Woodhouse Grange, Driffield, all of these boys. It's some cracking grounds around there, isn't there?
And there's some good players, I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I watched a game at Sheriff Hutton Bridge, and it was Sheriff Hutton Bridge versus Castleford. There's an England opening bowler who's took the new ball, Matt Fisher.
Yeah.
And his brother Mark is at the other end, a real good cricketer. They didn't take a wicket.
Yeah.
They didn't take a wicket. Opening the batting for Castleford is Chesney Hughes, played fabulously well. And bowling spin for Castleford is David Wainwright. David Wainwright played for Yorkshire, played for Derbyshire. Damn good coach from what I hear.
He's even got a terrace named after him at Castleford now.
Well, I mean, this was quality.
Yeah.
And I've seen other games that I've thought, you know, this is real good. And we're just moving ahead at Sheriff Hutton Bridge. We're doing a bit of fundraising to try. We're looking to improve facilities, maybe refurb the all-weather pitches, because we've got a lot of young uns. We've got a lot of young up-and-coming talented children coming through.
Yeah.
Just starting a women's team, and that's, you know, there's a real keenness to get that going. So, you know, you're always looking to recruit players. We ain't got enough players yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah. What, just flipping back, so you talk about the juniors there. What does your pathway into cricket look like, you know, when you were a boy? You know, how does it compare to now?
Pretty good in the 60s. I had, you know, some good mentors, Bob Simpson.
But when did you pick up a cricket bat? How old were you when you picked up a cricket bat? What you know, what were those first cricketing memories?
Probably been 9,
right.
9-year-old. Played for the school team, which was incredible, really, because we didn't have a field. You had to, the teacher, who was real keen, Mr. Wade, he'd march us through town with our kit to play on just a community field. And you can imagine what that pitch was like.
Yes.
Just to have a game against another school who also didn't have a pitch. And I chuckle. I absolutely chuckle. In fact, I get more than a chuckle on when I hear people on telly and on radio and writing. We don't play cricket in schools. Really? 30 plus pupils in a 40-minute lesson. All the best. Good luck.
Yeah.
We're trying to organise a cricket match. Your cricket is at the clubs.
Correct.
That's where you learn cricket. That's where you get to cricket. Now, the clubs might just go to the schools and have coaches who go in with little taster sessions, but get them down to the club. The clubs all over the place. And I keep hearing about the demise of cricket. I travel around North Yorkshire. Cricket grounds are awash with children. They're absolutely awash with children.
So, but moving from that school game into, you mentioned that you're opening the batting in the first team at 14. What's the? I mean, were you chucked in at the deep end at 13? You know, what were how many teams were there sort of to go through? Now you've got obviously potential development sides, 14, 13. Was that the case back then, or were you literally just chucked in the deep end?
No, we had a fourth 11, and you know, I'd been playing when I was like 11-year-old, and then you get into the thirds, the seconds, played a bit in the twos. But the other thing, vital for a lad like me who couldn't hit it off the square, I couldn't hit it off the square, I was tiny. But they couldn't get me out. I could stay in a bit. Time cricket it was. It was time cricket. And so it wasn't overs cricket. And so they saw an opportunity to get this kid in, and we had some real good senior professionals. And going back to we would train twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And juniors would I think we played on Monday night. Sort of under 15s and under 18s. I think that was it. Under 15s, under 18s. And you'd have your matches on a Monday night. So I'd be busy during the week, practicing Tuesday, Thursday, playing one of the nights for a junior side, playing for the seniors on a Saturday. And then the Sunday cricket came in, and we were quite a religious family. And I had to ask my dad for permission to play on a Sunday.
Right.
And my dad was a lay preacher, and he was, a very quiet sort of guy. My dad, he was real quiet, and he was no problem with me playing on a Sunday. And just as you might if people form an opinion of you, I've got or I could in the past I have a bit of a firebrand about me. Well, my mother were one of 13.
Wow. And
there's your clue.
And
I take after my mother. She was one of 13 kids.
Wow. She had to fight her corner.
So and I've always done the same. I've always sort of fought my corner and got in a bit of bother for it.
I think what's clear from what you're saying, David, is you came through what I'd call the traditional pathway back then. It was the same in the 70s and the 80s. And I read when I was doing some background for today that between something like July 62 and your first class debut, you played 30 odd games for Accrington because the county scouts were now looking around these Premier Leagues. And do you think counties don't have enough focus on that these days? They're too busy with their academies and just keeping it straight down the line that way.
Yeah, I mean, that is a criticism that's levelled at counties, which I think, counties they like to say that we've got a scouting system around the leagues. I hope that's the case, because you look at academies. He's in the academy from a very young age to 18. So the cut-off now is 18 for the academy. Well, somebody like Mike Watkinson didn't join Lancashire until he'd finished his apprenticeships and so on, till he was 21 or 22. So would he still get a game? Jack Simmons didn't start till in Lancashire. He was playing league cricket. He had a damn good job with the council. He was professional in various leagues. He didn't start till he was 29.
Wow. So,
that if you pigeonhole them all at 18, he's not going to make it, there should still be room for an outstanding, although I'd have to say, from what I've seen, and I'll mention one at Sheriff Hutton Bridge, I saw this lad play. I said, wow, who's that? And he was 17 years of age. He was called Will Bennison.
Yeah.
And they said, he's in the academy. So, they've got him. They've picked him up.
Yeah.
They know about him. And I'm sure that they do get the cream of the crop, but there will always be a late developer.
Yeah,
there will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In whatever country.
Definitely. We see that across the whole of the Premier Leagues in the country, and we're very proud to have supported the NCCA this year in particular. Some of their lads who've come from what used to be called minor counties into the pros now. So Tom Hinley was released from the academies at Sussex when he was 18, and he's then fought hard while he's been at university at Loughborough. He's fought hard to play for Oxfordshire. He's played for his local club. He's done all the things that he'd want to do. And then Worcestershire and Ashley Giles and Alan Richardson gave him a chance this summer to play in the Metro Bank. End of that season, he's got a rookie contract. As they can see at 21, he's developed further as a cricketer. He's got something there about him. And just shows that letting them go at 18 is not always the right way sometimes, is it?
No, and there's a bit of a criticism at the minute that he's 18 too early.
Yeah.
You know, if a lad's if he's released at 18, my pathway, if that were me, I'd go straight to Australia and toughen up, really toughen up, and get fit. And you would, as a POM in Australia, you got to live with that on a cricket field, and you've got to be determined and expand your game. And you've got to get fitter. You've got to get fitter and more savvy.
Yeah.
And then you can come back into our Premier League cricket and carry on doing your business, and you'll get picked up again.
Definitely.
Is that something, obviously you toured with England, but did you do that as a club player? We go over to Australia and play grade cricket?
I never did. I sort of had a family, and, you know, it was we didn't get paid very much, and so you had to get a job in winter. You had to. And I used to load wagons. That also makes me chuckle. They're not as fit now. They're fitter now than they were back in the day. Were they really? Have a go loading beer wagons at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And if I didn't do that, if I didn't get a job there, I were in a tyre bay.
Right.
6 o'clock in the morning, changing wagon tyres, freezing cold in Burnley. You know,
you can't help if it was Burnley instead of Accrington, though, can you? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't think we had a tyre centre in Accrington. Oh yeah, we did. We had Tommy Blank's tyres.
There you go.
It's funny though, isn't it? We were talking to Stan Heaton from Lower House a few months ago. And we asked Stan a very open-ended question, got a great answer from him, about the quality of Premier League cricket today versus the Premier League cricket back in the day. And he said, overall, he believes it's far better. And he put it down to one thing. He said, we all know the famous stories like Scott Oliver's told of those super pros that we had around the Lancashire League and all those big names who came. He said, but the problem was you had that super pro and 10 supporting players. Whereas now what you've got is you've got a pro, you don't get the big names, but you've got 10 lads who watch the BBL, they watch the Blast, they watch county cricket, the test matches. They all want to endeavour to be fitter and stronger and play better. And actually, you've got a better quality amateur then, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the game evolves. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think they train as much or practice as much, unless I'm not seeing that. But you know, I see the quality, and it's Premier Leagues. You'll find your level. I know Mickey Stewart, when he was England coach, said that out in Australia, you find the level which you can have a game of cricket.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing that in the UK, that you're finding your level as a Premier League player because you want to compete against other teams and you want to win and you want to score hundreds. And so the game will evolve. It's inevitable, is that. And the other thing is that when you had these crackerjack pros, particularly the bowlers, you know, in the 60s and 70s and maybe the 80s, you could bowl 24 overs at one end.
Yeah.
And you know, nobody else gets a go. So you were just a supporting role.
There's still a few leagues that do that, not many.
Well, I mean, that's a nonsense. It's just wrong. And to have a youngster who bats at number 8 or 9 and doesn't bowl, so he just stands in a field all day, he ain't going to do that for very long. He wants to be involved. He wants to participate in what's going on, and I think that's what it should be.
So in terms of, you've talked time cricket was very, very popular back then, but you already pointed out there that somebody bowling 24 overs, it just doesn't make sense anymore now. You've got a 50 over league local to you in the Yorkshire North. Do you think that's the right balance between timed and one day, shall we call it?
Yeah, I do. And the other thing is that what the leagues have seized on is 2020. Play 20 over cricket. And, what a great vehicle that is on an evening, say a Friday evening, to play 2020, get families down, put a barbecue on, get a bit of razzmatazz about it all and make it a social occasion for the teams and the families. And of course, it brings revenue into the club.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's something you've sort of become famous for. Your 2020 nights on Sky, with you on comms. It's how I think most of the nation has recently got familiar. All the lads at my cricket club, that's how they know you for your years doing the big not the big bash
Blast.
T20 Blast. There we go. Get my T20 comp sorted. Is that have they tried to hijack you for comms Sheriff Bridge for T20 nights?
No, they've not actually. But we've got a few meetings planned, and I've got one or two ideas to put forward. That Easingwold are not in the Prem now. They've got relegated.
Yeah.
And that is our big rivals.
Yeah,
Easingwold and Sheriff Bridge is a derby.
Right.
Well, still play it as a 20 over.
Yeah.
And let's invent a cup that they play for.
Yeah.
And 1 year you can play home and away in the same year if you can find the date, or play 1 year at Easingwold, 1 year at Sheriff Bridge, get some live music on, get a barbecue on, and you're going to make some money. Yeah. And these lads will play tough. Don't worry about that. They'd be full on to play for this cup. I haven't named it yet. I haven't got a name for it yet, but we'll have to sit down and think of something.
The Premier League Cricket Show Cup. There we go.
Yeah. We got to. I've got to find a name that will stand the test of time. Really, that'll just keep going, and you've got to keep playing for this.
Is there you name it over a boundary dispute so that there's a constant bit of niggle there?
I'll find the piece that touches a nerve. Don't worry about that.
It's about right. I think you're right about getting those people in the ground, and we've seen some of that this year, David, where the club championship, the cream of the ECB competitions, the 40 over one, where you see 300-400 people around the ground at semi-finals. Then we were down at Worcester for the final with Brentwood and Northern from Liverpool. 500-600 people there and some proper noise going on. Real good crack, real good, but battling hard. And a proper good quality Premier League clubs are going to do that, aren't they? No matter where you put them.
That's right. I mean, you want to win the trophy. Number one, you want to win. Number two, you want to win the trophy. And so it's a day out, isn't it? So what it is, your Premier League final is your Lord's final. It's your Lord's final. And, where are they playing it? Where are they playing this game?
Oh, we played...
It was Worcestershire last year.
Yeah, we played at Worcester this year for the club championship final, because on the same day, the Village Cup final was at Lord's.
All right. Okay.
Exactly.
But I always think a great venue is Birmingham. Birmingham's a great venue.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get there for a start. That is a cracking venue.
Yeah.
There's some wonderful. Chesterfield is a super place. Chesterfield's a super place to play, and you'd be intimate if you get 1,000 people on there. You'd be quite intimate. It'd be good.
Just at your sort of cricketing level, you've played it again across the spectrum. When you played, Test match versus a club game, is it the same when you walk on the field? When you're playing, did you feel any different playing for Accrington than you did for playing for England?
Do you know you get a when you're playing professionally, you get a buzz. There's a buzz about it. I have never been as nervous as when I played for Accrington. Really? Never. I just never lost it. Particularly when I went back after finishing playing county cricket. Wow. I could not get rid of my nerves, and it affected me. I thought, I should be able to. But it was probably that subconscious that I'm expected to do it. Whereas in a county game or an international match, you've got plenty of others who can do it as well. But there's that great expectation, which I've never lost my nerves for that.
Yeah. Was it Ian Bell? Was it Ian Bell went back and played? Was he for Nolan Dorridge? Did he play for Cannock? Somebody like that?
Yeah.
But and he played the game after he'd retired, and there was a big crowd there, and he got a duck. I think it was that second ball or first ball.
Yeah.
It's tough dropping back down. It seems difficult dropping back down. Maybe some pros, you mentioned Mark Stoneman there, he's still playing in the Surrey leagues.
He is.
And doing well. But yeah, it seems to be coming back. It's not easy. Everyone's out to get you, aren't they?
They are. And the other thing which I like about, I live in Yorkshire now, but that Yorkshire cricketers, if they're not playing for Yorkshire, go back into the league. They go and play for a league club. I think that's fabulous because it betters your standard. It increases the standard, definitely.
So South Wales League, David, they actually farm their players out at the start of the season that each club gets given, and you're guaranteed then to have those players coming out to the South Wales League every single weekend. And it's almost not a lottery, but it's almost making sure that everyone gets a game week in, week out.
Yeah, I just like the idea, and when Premier Leagues first came in, and about this will increase the standard. And Lancashire League were archaic when I was a kid, and they've got a professional like Eddie Barlow who was pro at Accrington, and I signed for Lancashire Cricket Club as a 16-year-old. I couldn't play; they wouldn't let me play for Accrington because they already had a pro. You only allow one pro. So I couldn't play. I couldn't play anywhere in Lancashire. I couldn't play for my own team that had developed me. They'd given me every opportunity and provided me with kit and so on. And no, they've already got a pro. They've already got one. And anyway, I did play a few matches with Eddie Barlow. I played against Roy Gilchrist at Lorehouse, if I remember. But they had to get permission from the league. I was just an apprentice young cricketer, and they might have said, well, he can play in the league until he makes his first team debut. So I'm playing for Lancashire Twos and the club and ground side, and once I'd made my first team debut, you couldn't play. And same thing with my lad, my eldest lad. I've got three lads. My eldest lad played for Accrington, and then had to go into the North Wales League to get a game of cricket. Archaic.
Has it changed now? I'm not sure.
I think it has. I think it has. Yeah, there's somebody with a bit of sense got involved.
Yeah, and I think you've used my favourite word. We need more sensibleness about the whole bloody thing, don't we? Because we've got 32 ECB Premier Leagues around the country, and I don't think any two of them operate under the same rules. Yeah, and the fact that we can have a sub-pro in the Lancashire League, but in the Bradford League, if your pro gets injured and has to go home, you can't replace him for the whole season. We're not playing a level playing field around the country, are we?
No, it just needs a bit of common sense. That's all it is. Common sense. Get common sense and get a common ground, whichever way. Yeah. The game has always had empire builders, but you've got to be, for the betterment of the game. What makes it a better game going forward? How do we improve it? And of course, you'd improve it if everything's uniform.
So, speaking of common sense, obviously you famously became an umpire as well. Have you umpired in the Lancashire League in the first team?
No, I've not umpired. I used to love umpiring in county cricket. It was fantastic. Never heard a word, not one word, ever. Never. Really? You ruled the roost. Yeah. So I haven't had the inclination really. I'm getting on now. I don't think I could. I don't fancy going standing in a field, really.
I was just wondering, I was hoping you'd had a few anecdotes there, because I can imagine umpiring county cricket is possibly not quite the same as umpiring the Lancashire and Yorkshire League.
In county cricket, by and large, they say absolutely nothing. By and large,
well
because in fact, I did it when I was in the 80s. Yeah. They wouldn't dare say a word. Yeah. Absolutely wouldn't dare. I think it's different now with DRS. I think they will challenge the umpire. Yeah. But the umpires can live with it. I think they do a super job, absolutely superb. Yeah. But, I'm not umpiring because I'm still playing. I played for the over 70s this year.
Leyland Cricket Club, 89 not
and out. I've got a decision to make whether I play again. Yeah, my fielding is not up to scratch. But I've been watching very closely the over 60s, England over 60s. How do you get a trial for that? How do you get a trial? And do you have to be affiliated to a club? How does it all work? Well, I just need to improve my fielding.
Okay, so the captain, Richard Merriman.
I can get a game. I've seen it, Richard Merriman's the captain. I've watched all of them. When can I have a trial?
I will message Richard after this call, David.
Well, the other thing is that I played for Lancashire, but I live in Yorkshire, and I can get a game here. I can get a game for the Wolds and Lincolnshire, which is right on my doorstep, which eases me travel. I'm not a great traveller. I'm not. It would ease my travel over the M62 if I played for my place of residence.
Yes.
And so I'll decide whether I want to play again. And again, you've got to have a trial. You've got to have a trial.
It's going to be a tough coach that's going to turn down Bumble.
Yeah. Well, we talked to someone a couple of weeks ago who travelled from Knaresborough to Cornwall to play Cornwall over 50s cricket. And it was Nigel Martin, the ex-England goalkeeper.
Good old, I've had once, I had a message from him, and they're telling me around here that he plays. Does he play at Knaresborough?
Yeah, he just got promoted to the Premier League.
He will be the oldest wicketkeeper in Premier League cricket in the country next year.
And so he's wicketkeeper for Knaresborough, but he plays for Cornwall.
Of course. Oh, place of birth.
Good lad. Well done, Nige. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You talk about fitness and fielding. I mean, he's basically shamed his whole club into getting fitter because he's 58 and fitter than most of them. And he's got a knackered ankle. So, yeah, he's instigated a fitness regime and a sort of mentoring scheme from our chat with him. So, yeah, he's doing this club proud.
I can't. I'm not going to pop across to Knaresborough. I need to feel better. I was embarrassing. I could see my mind's telling me what I should be doing. I couldn't do it. I was so embarrassed.
It does come to us all, David. I'm in my mid-50s now, and when I do fielding practice with my juniors, I have to do things at a little bit different pace to what I used to do 20, 30 years ago. But I watch the guys from England the 60s play here down the road from me, and there's a level that they play. There is a level that they play, and I saw you play for Lancs against Staffordshire. You'd still be able to bat the ball around a little bit, to say the least.
Well, I got it worked out. I had it worked out as over 70s because I kept thinking, get forward, and then I thought, no, it's not get forward, it's wait. Just wait on the back foot. Just wait on the back foot. But I couldn't bowl. I couldn't land it 22 yards. I just couldn't get it down the other end. Oh, yeah. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, come on and bowl. I bowled a double bouncer. Oh, my God. Shocking.
The main thing is, though, you played.
Yeah, I played. I've got some nice kit as well, and I don't want to waste it.
That's
I've got
fine.
a lovely bat. Now, listen, I've got to go. Is it all right if I go? Because I've got a bloke just turned up that I've got to talk to.
That sums up.
Are you sure?
That's exactly how we would expect the David Bumble Lloyd chat to end.
Well, I've got a bloke coming. I haven't told you he's my financial advisor.
Hey, been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, David.
Hey, great. Hey, thanks a lot. We'll chat again sometime.
Thanks, David. Much appreciated.
Keep in touch.
Pleasure.
Cheers now.
Will do.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
Meaningless stuff. Why do we gift so much meaningless stuff? Tired of generic gifts and hollow trends? Shutterfly allows you to create meaningful photo gifts for your family and friends. Whether it's a cozy fleece blanket for grandma, a stunning canvas print for mom, or a mug to make dad smile. Enjoy 40% off with code MAKE40 at Shutterfly.com and make something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
Right, so in our discussions with our various partners, today we're going to have a chat with our streaming partner, Neil Fairburn from NV Play. Now, Neil's been with NV Play for quite a while, and NV Play have been here in the UK for quite a while, Neil, haven't they?
They have, Ian. Thanks for having me on, and delighted to be on the pod today. But yeah, we started our journey about 15 years ago, based down in New Zealand. And in those initial phases, we were probably one of the first digital platforms to start to feed into the likes of Cricinfo. I expect everyone can remember trawling through Cricinfo, trying to find scorecards. If you were lucky enough to have your name on there, maybe you were playing a university List A game or something that you managed to get on there as a very great achievement. So lots of that data would have derived from our platform in those early days. And then, yes, around that time, we started to work with the ECB. And in the early stages of that relationship, we had a system called Feedback Cricket, which was, pretty much one of the world's first digital scoring platforms.
And you started that work with ECB, and let's be brutal about it, continued up to this day. You're a key partner with the ECB when it comes to all of the scoring and the streaming around the counties, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So we're very pivotal on a match day at the elite end of the spectrum, and that's where we've really kind of built and designed the system to operate. The nice thing about it is our collaborative model, and having cloud-based solutions in this day and age only advance what we can do. So having one source of truth, I think there was a match day this season. It might have been one of the early games at the Oval, Surrey against Somerset, where we had about 13 people reading and writing from the one source of truth. So that kind of goes from team analysts, both watching the game and doing things like fielding analysis, to the live scorers, to the replay screen operators, to the live streamers, and then to the actual ECB support staff with match referees and match officiating. So it really is kind of the engine under the bonnet that allows people to pivot off on a match day and use which bits they require to do their job and do it well.
And I think you use that phrase engine under the bonnet, a really nice way of looking at what NV Play is as a whole sort of system within the industry. But the beauty for me is effectively everything that you've done there with Surrey, Somerset, the ECB, the England team, effectively the system's not that much different to what you could utilise at your local Premier League club.
Yeah, and that's been a really exciting part of our relationship with the ECB, and now connecting with those clubs that are below that kind of professional level. So we just bring all of those learnings and that exact system, and we can provide that to recreational clubs and schools. And, just last year, I was looking at some of the stats, and we had nearly 30,000 matches which were processed through our platform. And that was up from 2023 when there was 25,000. So we can see that the growth of the game is there using these tools. And then, of course, video connects into that. We're looking at around 4,000 matches that last year had ball clips associated to them. So what with the growth of the women's game as well, it's great for KPIs and really looking at that kind of trend curve of how cricket is growing. And we're seeing just more and more traction across the digital platforms as we move.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there. The way this is growing and the amount of clubs that are streaming is just exponentially growing year by year. How many clubs have you got now in the UK that are utilising the system?
So we've got over 400, again, which has grown year on year. And I think, the advancements in other sports, football and things like that, where you can now capture games via AI, which I can come on to later with regards to our system. But, they've opened up the potential for people, not only to create organic content, but things like sponsors showcasing what's going on in the local community are all great kind of check boxes. And yeah, we're really starting to see that kind of come into play now. I mean, like we've all done it as well, where we've probably had a busy phase of our lives if we're working professionally, where maybe we haven't watched a test match, for whatever reason. You might not have watched too much of the actual broadcast, but I'm pretty sure people would have caught up via all the different mechanisms, all the highlights and social media, the clipping, the ball by ball commentary on BBC Sport. There's lots and lots of ways these days to aggregate sport, and I think that recreational club sides having that opportunity and now starting to piggyback off of all of that great stuff. So, and cricket naturally is following some of the other major sports, but we can see that it's really growing.
And I think what's fascinating there about when you talk about ball by ball in particular is cricket to me is quite unique, and I equate it to baseball in America. We all know that everybody, we call them cricket badgers here, but in America they're just as bad when it comes to the data there. And what NV Play and the systems coming together does, it allows all of that to be aggregated and actually delve down as deep as you bloody well want, basically, and look at that one individual ball across the whole game, doesn't it?
Yeah, and cricket is unique from that perspective, and arguably, the length of a game of cricket, which is 7 hours long, if you're watching that as one entire live stream, then it becomes a little bit of a hassle via the scrubber. And we've all been there, I'm sure, where we have played that game and we want to catch our dismissal via a continuous feed. So having that technology and that automation where we can start to break that down by ball or by four or by six or by key moment really does kind of spin it into a new realm of how we can aggregate that after the match, post-match, and we can very quickly find that specific ball. We can share that. We can do whatever we want with it. So, and that's one of the things that we're constantly striving to make better, is that instant feedback, is that connection between what happened and the actual video of that, and putting those two in the lights of those looking on.
Definitely, and I think that's where I see some of the top clubs who use MV Play work with it really brilliantly to actually be able to do things on social media almost immediately sometimes. We know that, let's be honest, if Derbyshire take a wicket, the first thing that goes out on social media is that wicket. It's that clip that's come to an MV Play stream. You can do the same at a recreational cricket club ground.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And what I've found in my experience of doing it is you're talking to and you're engaging with people that really have a passion for doing it as well. This isn't a paid role running the social media accounts or creating highlights for an ECB Premier League club. It's someone that's got, the club's best wishes within their own heart, and they've probably been a part of the club for a while and now want to give something back. So it's kind of connecting people in the club with what they want to achieve as well, and just giving them the tools to do it, which is really nice. And obviously everyone's different. Some are doing it very well. Some are just starting their journey. Some don't understand it or have that technical expertise existing currently at the club, or if they do, they're on the pitch playing. But it's only a matter of time until people start to do that. And whether it's through enjoyment or the passion to find some new commercial partners or new players, or as clubs get promoted, they might look for something new to kind of elevate the club's existence, then these are the ways to do it. So,
and yeah, you talk technical. Let's be honest, you don't need that much technical expertise to set this thing up in the first place. I mean, I've been around it at our club and I'm reasonably technical, but it's not rocket science when you put this on, and it is plug and play with PCS Pro.
Yeah, and we had to come from the understanding that the people that were using our scoring platform were scorers, and those people often, with no disrespect or speaking out of turn, are often of the older side of things, and they're people that maybe don't necessarily like change, or they can be a little bit resistant to change. So we had to build things that were plug and play. And the way that it currently works is that it just purely uses the scorer's keystrokes. So if someone comes along, connects the camera system that people can either buy from us, or they can bring their own cameras into the system, the scorer can still go about their day-to-day work on PCS Pro, which is the platform that's what it's called, PCS Pro, the laptop-based scoring software, and they can score the game. And we've built all the automation in to be able to spin off of their keystrokes accordingly. So without them knowing it, they are actually powering that live stream and creating some visuals for those watching.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I found really interesting is some of the statistics out of the ECB in the last year or two, the amount of games that are being scored digitally now versus actually an old school scorebook is just growing so greatly. that it is just that next little step to hook up that video camera and away you go.
Yeah, I mean, digital scoring has come into place now because a lot of leagues, or nearly all leagues, have mandated that that's what they require, and it makes everything more accurate. And obviously their data tolerances and management of leagues and things like that is far easier. As I said at the start, we've had over 30,000 matches that, you know, were processed digitally through the system. So yeah, and then add, like you say, adding the video component in as a layer on top of that is quite a simple process. And I think the fact that we've got various tailored kits which can suit different budgets, scenarios, environments, you know, makes that all the more easier as well. Whether people want to put them on a sight screen or on an outbuilding, or just put them on a tripod next to the scorer, they can do it. It's a very simple feed into the laptop via a USB connection.
And once it's connected, as you say, it is all of those keystrokes that just do all the work for it. You might have a little bit of prep with if you want nice graphics for 4s or 6s or wickets, but they're all one-off jobs. And once they're done, away you go.
Yeah, all of your watermarking, sponsors, logos, all of those automated cards are all part of it. And I think one of the really nice things about PCS Pro, going back to the fact that we designed and built this for the professional environment, is that it's scalable. So clubs coming onto the platform, they can start in very basic fashion, and it might mean to start with they just stream out with a score overlay, but there's lots and lots of different things they can add in. They can use wagon wheels, they could use audio and have a commentator over the stream, they can add custom cards, so things like, you know, players having their image on a green screen and then being able to Photoshop that and have sponsors connected to it when they come out to bat, even providing cards with their latest stats. Or, you know, if a player, for example, was about to pass the club record runs, you could have a key graphic which you could show into the stream. So the system has been built for people of all levels to come and use it at whatever level suits them at that particular time. And it might be that for a club that varies throughout the week. It might be that for the Saturday first team or second team, they have quite a high level broadcast, but it might be used for the 15s on a Tuesday night, and they might just want to run out a basic stream, and then it runs into some lovely areas of using that for analysis. And, you know, maybe a player wants to look at how they keep getting out stumped, a young 15-year-old girl or whoever it may be, whilst also serving a purpose for grandma to watch remotely in a holiday home in Cyprus. So it's lots and lots of different scenarios and ways in which the platform can be used by clubs.
And we know that in this 21st century, we'll go cracking on in the 21st century world now, that video and that element of instantaneous, you know, it's there. The younger they are, the more they want it. There's no two ways about it. And I think that's one of the big things it lends itself to, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously the young folk are just all over this with their video and self-promotion, showing people what they've done. It's great from a performance angle because they're going to learn quicker. It's going to accelerate the way that they can understand the game. And also, I think a big thing in all of this is the legacy. It's the archived legacy of the memories, the teams that win, the teams that lost, that emotional connection that people can have, that they can refer back to. You know, unfortunately, we never got the opportunity to do that, to look back on videos when we played an under 15 game. But just recently, as you know, we covered the under 13 and 15 finals at Lords. Yep. You know, what an experience for those playing that day, and to have those memories captured and to see themselves on video were things that, you know, that will live with them for the rest of their lives. So, yeah, it is really exciting for people that are starting to play the game and at that stage of cricket.
You mentioned AI earlier. What is next when it comes to this platform and where you guys could go? Because I'm guessing there's almost an endless possibilities there, isn't there?
Yeah, AI is really, really exciting and really interesting. The fact that we've got cameras in place is half the challenge, because you need cameras to be able to run the AI algorithms over. But anything that we can do to make it easier or make a better outcome for someone that was watching that stream or trying to coach from that stream, we will try to do it. So if it means that we can add ball tracks visually for streams, if we can do things that would help scorers in terms of their keystrokes, or analysts in terms of their keystrokes that we can pick up automatically. For example, a couple of those things might be coding from a coding perspective, the keeper up or the keeper back around the wicket, or over the wicket, wide of the crease. We can also start to look at maybe batsman foot movement and pick up things automatically there. So automating those activities during the ball delivery are obviously fantastic. We know within sport, and especially professional sport, that things need to be accurate and there's certain tolerances that need to be met. So, this is very early days with what we're doing, but we're seeing some great results so far. And there's a lot of things that we can bring into the recreational video side of things that can hopefully enhance that. And one of those ones will be around clipping and also highlights, because if we know when the bowler's bowling the ball and we know when that delivery finished, that makes things really, really easy downstream to be able to plot and process.
Absolutely. So the message is dead simple, isn't it? Streaming's here. It ain't going away. It's growing exponentially. If you're a recreational Premier League cricket club out there right now and you're not streaming, there's going to be some point in the future in the Premier Leagues, I'm sure, where every Premier League is going to say you must stream. Get on board and work with MV Play ASAP is what we'd say, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. And we are working with a lot of the ECB Premier League sides already, and it kind of serves a purpose for them with the level that they're playing and also what their scorers' requirements are. But yeah, they just need to reach out to us. We've got a few offers coming onto the board, and you've got one yourself, which hopefully you'll tell the listeners about. But yeah, everyone's gearing up for next season. One thing I would say is that we do start to get busy around February and March time. So if you've got time now during the off season, start thinking about it, have those committee meetings, get that funding in place, and reach out to me if there's any questions or issues around that, and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Neil. We're going to put this out on our pod. We'll have a link again, once again, to get the discount that you've got with ourselves. But more importantly, the discount's one thing, but just get yourself streaming. That's what we'd say to all. Get yourself streaming and create. I'm going to use a really sort of corny way of looking at it. Create those memories, because those memories that are going to be out there for players of today to look back on in 10, 15, 20 years, that's what we're all about these days, isn't it?
100%. It's all those memories. And just think about what you're doing for your cricket playing community, because I know there's a lot of decision makers out there that probably aren't playing the game anymore, but it is about those players and providing them with, what's going on around them. And also just finally, for those that are playing in pathways or have aspirations to go up the food chain, it is what they're getting when they go and play for those counties or minor counties in those environments. So it's nice to kind of try and get that off the ground where they're playing day in, day out at their clubs.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Neil. Look forward to catching up with you in the spring when I'm sure you're going to be ridiculously busy.
Cheers, Ian. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the Cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.